deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music, deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music, deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music, deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music, deeper than music.
What up, what up, what up? It's your man, Marquivas, Furious Nias. Deeper Than Music Radio. Behind every great song, there's an even greater story. I like to say what's up to everybody listening to us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, and YouTube. Deeper Than Music Radio is a podcast where we showcase artists, actors, many great people and their great story. Today we have a treat. We have a model, actress, influencer who was recently featured in TRV Countdown video of the day from 4020 Click and Young Stitch, 21 years old, influencer, Toronto Suns Girls of the Decade, doing a lot of things, also has her own talent agency. She was on Dragon's Den, which is the Canadian version of Shark Tank, and she placed third. Also, International Maxim Magazine's Cover Girl contest she was in. Ladies and gentlemen, we have actor, influencer, model, Miss Riley Sawyer here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
Hey guys.
How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me.
No, not a problem. Thank you for being on the show. Like I said, Deeper Than Music Radio, we like to cover people that are doing great and wonderful things as yourself, and also get the story behind what you're doing and just all the great things that you're doing. My first question is, I've noticed that before you even got into this business, you were actually pursuing something else, becoming a professional athlete, and you were following the footsteps of your cousin, who's also an Olympic figure skater, Sean Sawyer, correct?
Correct, yes, Sean Sawyer.
Yeah, so can you give us a little background on that, what you were pursuing and what led to you kind of not going in that direction?
For sure. So I'm a former figure skater, but I was forced to quit due to several concussions. So I started skating when I was 3 years old, and I placed fourth at All Ontario's in ice dance when I was around 14 years old. And being forced to quit from concussions, I was like, what am I going to do in my spare time now if I can't be on the ice? And that's how I ended up getting into modeling, and then it led to acting, and it just took over.
Wow. And also I see your dog as well is also very popular on Instagram as well.
Yes, baby. She's a Pomeranian Chihuahua. She's 11 years old, and I rescued her a year ago.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So, I guess, so initially you wanted to be a figure skater. How did you come into going into like modeling, and was it like, what was the genesis of that career change?
Basically, what happened was because of like my time always being on the ice, and then I was like, what am I gonna do? I never saw, like, I didn't see myself modeling at the time, and then one day I was like, I'm gonna go to an agency and see how that goes, and it picked up. And switching over to modeling, it's a complete different so different than being on the ice, like I'm not used to being in front of cameras all the time when I'm on the ice, and it was very different, but I learned a lot. And having both, being a former athlete, has helped me like with the determination and all that in this game. So I think being a former skater made me that much more determined and driven to where I've come now.
Okay. And was it, so afterwards you went into modeling, and did modeling open up other doors as far as like acting?
Well, when I was younger, I used to act before I started skating because my grandma owned an acting school. So I did several plays, acting lessons, everything. I did one CBC Christmas movie, and I was quite young. When I was 7 was the last time when I stopped, and then skating took over. And so because of modeling and networking and meeting people, they're like, oh, you model? And like, do you act at all? Because a lot of opportunities sometimes for music videos, they want a model and actress, someone who can act as well as play the role as a model. So I was like, I should get back into acting. I already have all the background. So that's because I had it before. That's exactly how it just all came about so quickly together.
Wow. And what is your what is your portfolio as far as, let's start with the modeling? Like, what, I know that you like Maxim magazine, Toronto's Sun Girls of the Decade. What other things have you done as far as that, like other accolades? And
so I've been published over 20 times. The top two publishing that were definitely like most memorable for me was with Maxim magazine, and then with the Toronto Sun, and being named Sunshine Girl of the Year. And then the Sun experience, like, was the coolest experience, I'd say, was going on Dragon's Den as a bikini model. That was awesome. Yeah, it was fun.
So, like, Dragon's Den, is that, so it's the American equivalent of Shark Tank?
Yes, it's the Canadian, correct, yes. So it's the Canadian version of Shark Tank.
So were you a contestant, or?
No, I was hired as a bikini model. So the product that I was modeling, I'm now their brand ambassador. The product I was modeling for, it's called Cobra Mask, and it's a snorkel mask that you can go underwater with and everything. So there was me, a male model, and then two younger models, and we all came out in bikinis and the snorkel mask.
Wow. And how would you say, like, what is the difference between like an athlete and then going into modeling? Was it kind of like an easy transition, or were there any challenges?
Definitely. It was definitely upsetting from skating, since I had goals to be an Olympic skater and everything. So the transition was very taking the negative energy of being upset, turning it into a positive and into a new career that I honestly at the time wasn't educated in, just throwing myself out there and to try new things. So the transition was all about putting that negative energy into positive and throwing myself out there, not being scared to try new things. And that was the transition, honestly, because I could have done the opposite, sat around upset I can't skate anymore, and it all worked out. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. And what has been, as a model, what would you say has been the biggest challenge so far in your career as modeling?
Tips I could give other people, I would say, that I've lacked and have learned along the way, is honestly to remember that to keep your focus, always believe in yourself, and to always remember that the sky's the limit, and that you're honestly your worst enemy. And when you feel overwhelmed, for say, to listen to your body, practice self-love, all that, remembering that and being okay with that is honestly, I'd say, the hardest thing I took into remembering, because being an athlete before, used to just being on the ice, you know what I mean? It wasn't always about like taking a step back, taking a moment. So it's now in this career, like, you're dealing with a variety of people, whether it's artists you're working with in music videos, anyone. So you need to always remember who you are. That's the biggest thing, I'd say.
And then, because, I guess it's a sidebar question. Now we have, they talk about like body shaming. And I, for one, I have a 13-year-old daughter. And I guess guys are different. Like, I never really knew the pressure, but I learned through my daughter the pressure of, I feel like women are under so much more pressure as far as imagery, always having to be on, especially with being a model. I guess with a model always being on. Do you feel, is there a lot of pressure that comes with modeling, or do you feel you always, like, for instance, like, hey, one day, like, I just want to wear sweats, I just want to be me. Do you feel like there's pressure being a model, and sometimes that you always have to be on, I guess, is the question?
I feel modeling suits my personality very well.
Okay.
That, therefore, how I dress, how I am, my personality, it fits the role very, very well. At the end of the day, getting into modeling, if you know yourself, your core values, your morals, everything, nothing can influence you. You know yourself. You're doing it because you love it. And the outside, how like they see a model isn't what the big picture is. It's about you being true to yourself, staying on your game. And if that can influence you or affect you, then that's whenever, like regarding the last question, like knowing yourself, staying true to yourself, like taking a step back, that's where that whole part I feel plays a big role. Knowing yourself, if you know yourself, all that stuff, what anyone thinks doesn't matter. It's you're in it for you, like, and to help the next generation coming up, the models, inspire. But at the end of the day, you can't be expected to be anyway but yourself. That's how
so you have to be like very grounded in who you are, because you said you filled with a lot of people, but just staying grounded and staying true to yourself helps you navigate.
For sure.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
And then, so as far as acting, how did that, so basically being a model also led to you acting, and you said that you've done a few music videos. Can you give us a rundown on your acting resume?
Yes, so I've done quite a few music videos. It started off, the first music video I did was an artist, Diego Gomez. It's called My Best Friend's Girl. He won YTV The Next Star. It's a reality TV show when he was younger, and he wanted to do the song 10 years later. So he reached out to me to be a model in his video and an actor. So I did that. That was the first music video I did. And then I landed at a music studio with artists one day called Phase One in Toronto. And I ended up getting signed to the studio. So I'm around artists all the time, and I'm working in a lot of music videos, and it's awesome. I love doing music videos. The vibe, everything about it, I just love it. And I love portraying different characters. It reminds me of when I was younger, always acting. I love it.
And I see that you cool with Jason Derulo and...
Yes, I know Jason. Yeah, I was at his performance in August.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And also you have your own talent agency. How did that come about?
So basically, for a while I didn't have an agent, and because I wasn't being booked ways I wanted to be booked, so I was like, why don't I just be my own agent, right? So I was like, you know what? There's girls that get into different agencies and stuff, and they're not happy with contracts and stuff like that. And I was like, at the end of the day, being at a music studio, I have people around me who they guide me, and I can ask them for advice all the time, anytime. You know what I mean? People who actually have my best interests at heart, looking out, just wanting me to succeed. So I was like, if I could do that for the next generation coming up, other people out there in this industry, because it's not the easiest industry to be in, I'll give it that. I was like, if I could help someone out, that would mean the most to me, because at the studio they totally have for me. So that's how it all started, and then it all came about at the studio. I was like, okay, let's get it. And so it's called Chic Talent Toronto, and it just, so I have my roster, and super excited.
Wow. And who are, like, what are the names of the people under your roster, under your talent agency?
I have several people on roster. I have all ages from 2 to 40 of now, but there's no age limit. That's just the age limit I have, like the range I have right now that's signed. But yes, I have several people.
And you mentioned the business and not getting work. Like, what would you say to people that like look up to you and aspire to be like you, as far as being a model? What should they look out for? Like, or what are the pitfalls, or what things that should they look out for? What advice would you give them navigating through this business?
I would say always have a team around you that you can pass things through. Always. If you have the right people around you that can give you a bit of advice at the end of the day to know maybe that's not a good move, maybe that is, to always have a good team around you. That's the biggest advice I would say. And know your core values and you're good. And
so since this is Deeper Than Music Radio, what are you listening to? Like, who are your favorite artists?
Oh, I love so many artists. Like, I love so much music. I love Drake. I love YK Osiris. Like, I love it all. I'm like into so many. I don't even have a favorite song.
Let's see. Where can people find you? Like, what is your social media? This shameless promotion time.
My Instagram is RILEEYS, and my Twitter is Riley RILEY Sawyer SAWYER _.
Okay, and what's in the future for Miss Riley Sawyer? Like, what gigs do you have coming up? Any new videos that you'll be in? And
Yes, I'm working on quite a few music videos right now, and I have a lot coming in 2020. There's so much that's coming. I'm so excited. A lot of hot and trending stuff. I can't wait for everyone to see. It's going to be a big surprise. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. The last thing. Instagram influencer, and like, how did that all come about? Like, the process of you, like, I'm just now starting to, I was actually watching, I think it was either Netflix, they have a show called Influencers, a documentary. So did you also grow your Instagram or become an influencer in tangent with you becoming a model and the actress as well?
For sure. So once I started modeling, I learned through agents. I was told through agents that some bookings apparently, at the end of the day, go based on, we'll choose the girl with the bigger amount of following, because if they post that, that's going to give that much more attention to the brand or a company that they're modeling for. So my agent at the time was like, you need to build your following. And I think I had 3,000 followers at the time. So I was like, oh wow. So some artists that I've worked with, they had social media managers talk to me and told me different strategies, how to work on it. And definitely, once I started modeling, Instagram became a big thing. It's like, you got to promote yourself. That's where you're showing yourself off. That's where you are getting a lot of fans.
Yeah. Wow. And as far as, like, I guess in your whole career, what has been like a memorable moment where you like, wow, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread?
Probably, honestly, every event I do, whether it's like hosting, doing even music videos where I'm appreciated for my work, and everyone just like coming up to me, like, it's like, it's the whole vibe. My job every single day, every booking I do, I feel like that in every booking I do, which is why I'm like, I know I'm in the right place, because that's how I always feel. I'm like, I'm in the right career. If I didn't feel that way, I feel like I wouldn't be doing the right thing. And that's why I'm like, everyone should always do what they feel they're meant to do, not what anyone else says. So yeah, that's how I am.
Yeah. Well, hey, Riley, I definitely appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your great, wonderful story. I mean, I like what you say, you know, and in that industry, you have to be grounded and be around people that support you. Do you have any last words or any shout outs you want to give before we close out another great interview with you here on Deeper Than Music Radio?
Just want to say thank you so much for having me, and I'm so glad I could get to meet and talk to you.
Not a problem. Hey, definitely glad to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the time out just to share your wonderful story with us. And ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Riley Sawyer, influencer, actress, doing her thing on Deeper Than Music Radio. This is Mark and Riley signing off for another great episode of Deeper Than Music Radio.
Yeah, thank you.
Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music. Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music. Deeper than music.